What's going on, Sumolings? Thank you for joining us for another product walkthrough webinar. I am Lindsay and I am joined by the team over at Clickacall. Clickacall is a tool that lets you receive voice and video calls from anywhere with only a link, no downloads or signups required. Before we dive in and take you on a walkthrough of the tool, I just want to tell you a few quick things. The first is that we would love to hear about your use case. We would love to hear about your business over in the chat room. And then if you have any questions about the tool, you can go ahead and let us know those questions in the Q&A box down below the video. We will circle back to those questions at the end of the walkthrough. And the last thing is that there will be a replay of this available. So if you ever want to, watch it back, or if you need to step out, you totally can. Hello to the people watching the replay. I hope the future is chill. Hi, Andy. How are you?
Oh, hi there. I'm Jordan. I'm co-founder of Clickacall and CEO, and I'm going to take you through this walkthrough today just to really give you a bit of an in-depth view of the platform and to tell you a little bit more about where we're going to go with it. So I'll start on the main screen, which you can see here. Now, Clickacall as a business was founded on the concept of simplicity. Typical video calls when you're signing up, you're registering for products, it doesn't generally work very well. There's a lot of limitations and frustrations that come as a result of it. And using it as any kind of lead generation tool or customer support service is challenging, to say the least. So where we came up with Clickacall was the real use case of how do we offer an easy to use one-click voice and video service that can be embedded onto websites, that can be put into your email footers, that can be thrown across your social media and marketing campaigns, but then also has a few smarter functions in the background, which would really give you that sort of high-level business intelligence to really take the product forward. Now, about the team, Clickacall is quite a new business. It's quite early stage. We have done a version 1 of the product. Now we're into version 2. This version 2 comes with a lot of new improvements, and we know that there have been a few issues once we launched onto the AppSumo because we had to get a few of our features ready for that launch. So we're very sorry for anybody who's experienced any issues so far, but we have fixed most of those issues now, and we're working through anything else that crops up. So please let us know if you're experiencing anything at the moment. Now, to get us started, let me just put this window up. Then this is the main call page. Now, the way that it works is Clickacall is based on what's known as a WebRTC, and WebRTC technology is an instant click. So I can copy this link here and I can paste that into the browser, which just opens up a call page like this. And then I click the green button to make a call. This will ring through into the dashboard. Quickly mute that so we don't get any static. And then there you can see we're now live on a call. It's as quick and simple as that. The same thing can happen if you type into the email invite. All you have to do is type in the email address of the individual that you'd like to invite. You can have a message to say, hey, let's have a call, click here. And then underneath there's a button that says call Jordan. They click that button and then they're instantly inside of the same call screen. Now what you'll notice is once you've joined a call, then you have a range of different options here as well. We have a notes section, and these notes are saved in real time. So anything I type here will then automatically be saved to the dashboard. And then the same thing underneath with tags. So if this is a lead-based call, I can just add it in as a tag, which is then tracked, and you can see inside of the Insights tab. If you want to obviously screen share, that's a fully embedded feature. It's one click again. It's very simple to use. And you can also toggle off your video and play around with all the functionality inside. You also get the information about the caller details. And if I had a campaign tag attached to that link, then you would also have a campaign underneath, which could be a Facebook campaign. It could be a certain product page or a service page on your website, or any number of reasons that you would want to track that. It could be coming from a certain email marketing campaign, for instance. So if I just close this call now, then the next question that we usually get is, well, what happens if somebody calls you when you're not available or not on this screen? So if you toggle off the availability here, and then we go to the call link, then it pops up with this instead, which is a leave a message page. With the leave a message page, then you simply enter in your information, and then you click leave. It takes 1 second to send it through, and then that gets sent through into the dashboard. So now if I go into missed calls, you can see that this submission is just being sent through. So I now have all the details that I've captured, including the IP and browser information of where the users come from and the time of submission. And then you can filter those based on any criteria that you want across the top, or search for any individual message or user. Inside of the call log, then you'll see this is where you have that full log of every single call that seems to have happened. You can then see your notes and your tags, and you can see if there's any recordings attached to the videos themselves. The recordings should take around about 5 to 10 minutes, and they can take up to an hour or even a couple of hours in some cases, depending on how busy the servers are. But for the majority, it should be 5 to 10 minutes. Now, inside of the Insights tab, then this is where you can now see any tags that have been added previously. So you can actually see the number of calls, the minutes of the calls, and the statuses of the calls that have been using those tags. So you could have a sales call that was successful as a tag, or you could have further follow-up or any of those type of statuses. You can also see by user the number of calls that I've had as an individual, the total minutes that I've used, and then also my statuses of the amount of calls I've had completed or missed, or that I'm currently in. And then by status, again, it's just a single filter system for that. Now, if we jump over to the user tab, then this is where you really have access to all of the information on your user and also anybody else who you've invited into the dashboard. So you get this section here, which has your information, and then when that account was created, are you available or not? You can toggle here as well, or you can toggle on your recordings. The call recordings will record the entire live video inside of the dashboard, and they will remain there for 60 days, and you have a download button so that you can easily take them offline. Now,
hey Jordan, it doesn't look like the screen share is coming up.
At all? At any point?
Yeah, it's not showing right now.
Oh, okay. Have we missed the whole screen share?
I'm not sure if we missed all of it. It is here now, but we're just seeing the desktop. Oh, there it is, yeah. All right,
Okay.
you can keep going.
Do you want me to start from the beginning if people haven't seen it, or?
Hang on, I'm looking over in the chat room. Yes, please start. Yes.
Oh, okay.
They're just saying yes.
No problem at all. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, well, I'll go back to the start then. So this is the Clickacall dashboard. Hopefully some of you have seen it before by now, and if you haven't, then this is what the initial homepage looks like. Now, just to quickly recap over these features, because I know we've just done it, so I don't want to bore anybody. If I take this copy link here, you just click on this button, and then you click here to paste it through. Then from this section, I can just click on the call button, which will ring through into the dashboard. Now I can accept that call. I'm going to quickly mute it so it doesn't make the static noises. And then from here, I can add live notes to my account. And these notes are saved automatically. You don't have to click any buttons or anything. It'll just instantly go straight into your account. And then from a tags perspective, you can add any kind of tag. So if you wanted this to be about a Facebook campaign, or maybe it came from a Google lead, then you could tag everything inside of that. Or if it was a certain support query that had a topic, then you could use that topic reference so that you could then see at the end of the month how many people have contacted you over certain types of issues. You get the benefit of the IP, the browser, and obviously the operating device. And then from there, you also have full screen share options and the ability to obviously toggle on and off your video and audio settings. This little red dot here says archiving on. This tells people on the call that you are recording the call. If you're going to use the call recording product, then it's important to let people know in the terms of service on your website as well, just so that people are fully aware that when they're joining the call, then you will be recording for training purposes or otherwise. And then if we end this call now, then that then filters up into the call log. So you can see here the date and time that the call came through, the duration, any tags that have been added, and any live notes, which is all fully searchable. Now, if I go back to the accept calls page, and then I toggle off my availability, and then I try to call myself again, then what appears now is a leave a message lead form. So if I just enter in my information and then click leave a message, then that's automatically submitted to the missed call part of the dashboard. So now if I go over here, then you can see that that submission is now registered, so I can go back and contact that individual. I've got their basic information as well as their user details, where they're calling from, and then the time of the call as well. Now, when we're looking at things like the insights, then you can go into here and you can see by tag how many calls have come in with that tag associated to it, what was the total call time, and what is the status of those calls. You can see by user how many calls I've done as an individual, and if you have a team, you'll see your team members inside of here as well, the total number of minutes, and then their statuses of the call. Or you can see at the moment now what is currently happening in terms of missed, in progress, and complete. Now, the email invite system works really well as well. So all you have to do is type in an email address, add your message, and click go. And then the user will receive, the customer will receive a customized email, which basically says, hi, and then your message. And then underneath just has a big button which says call now. That is an instant click. So they receive it into their inbox, they click the button, they then are on the call with you. It's as simple as that. We seem to find that a large use case for this is with people who are less technology friendly, who are wanting a simpler experience. And especially when we're talking about sales leads and customer management, then removing those barriers to entry and just making it a very simple call experience is really the key to success here. So that's what we were trying to achieve. Now, if I move along to the user group over here, then you'll see that I have me as an individual user. We have 2 team members that I've invited, and to add a user, you simply go to the top, you paste in an email address, and you click send invite. That invite then instantly goes through as an email. They click a button, within 10 seconds, they're now live onto the platform, onto the account. Now they, as an individual user, will have the exact same dashboard that you would as a main user, but they don't then have the permissions to manage other agents and things like that. So they will have a dashboard that's exactly the same, but is obviously just for that individual. Now, this is where it starts to get more interesting in terms of what you can actually do. We have a widget section here for every single user, and this is how the technology is built through WebRTC. Now, we have the options of a video call or an audio-only call. We have had a couple of issues with the audio-only calls, and that is a working fix, but it will be done very soon. So you take whichever link is most relevant to you, and you could paste that anywhere you like. So you could send that out on social media, you could put it into an email, you could link it into an existing button on your website. You can do anything you want with that link address, and it will just open up straight into a call on any device or browser. Now, we've also made it a little bit simpler for you as well. So we've created a couple of buttons that you can embed onto your site. All you have to do is just click and copy the code, and then you can use that straight away. And then we have the same for dock windows as well, so that you can actually dock one of these in the bottom corner of your website to say, you know what, give us an instant call or otherwise. And we've made these fully customizable. So you don't need to have the white labeling features to be able to fully customize your button experience. The white label features only customize the actual in-screen and dashboard experience. So in here, you now have access to all of your buttons, and you can see them as they change. So as you begin to edit them, then you'll get obviously an idea of what they look like. You can change the text and the colors. We should give you a level of customization, and we're looking to add more to that over time so that you can really get something that matches with your brand, even if you don't want to go through with the white label options. Now, you also have access to see the other users that you've added widgets, so that you can use the links and embed how you need them to be. One of our users from South America contacted us and has started to build a chatbot actually for quite a large client. And inside of that chatbot, they're actually using different team members' links attached to buttons, so that as you interact with the chatbot, it actually appears with different call links for the relevant person to that individual query. We think that's super cool, super interesting stuff, and that's the type of story that we want to hear about how people are using our product in more innovative ways. Now, this is the next section, because you're going to be thinking, okay, well, as one individual, what happens if I want to, say, have a contact or a video call button on the website, and then if somebody clicks it, how do I send that to multiple users? Well, that is where user groups come into play. So this tab down here allows you to just quickly create a group. You can name that group. So this could be support team, and then you click create. Now inside of here, we can enable that, and then we can add users simply by just selecting from the available dashboard users, and then that's now done. So if we now go back to the main page, then what you can see here is you have a widget section as well. Now this widget is unique to this user group, and you can make limited amounts of user groups to fit your needs. You can use them for campaigns, you can use them for support, you can use them for any reason that you like. And what happens here is that once you've embedded this link, if somebody clicks on it to call, then it will actually bring all of the available agents inside of that group, depending on availability. So if there are 3 people inside of that group and one of them is toggled off as unavailable and the other 2 are toggled on as available, it will ring both of those 2 available agents at the same time for the first person to pick up. What we're looking at doing in the future is to add even more sort of smart routing options to this. So for example, if you had somebody contact you through the website and was connected to a particular support agent, then that individual, the next time that they go to contact that support link, if they can connect you to the same agent again, then it will automatically route them to that agent first. So these are the type of things that we're thinking about, and we're looking further down the line on what we could do with the product to make it even more intuitive in terms of the interactions with the user. So any of these group links as well, you can delete them, you can search them. As I say, there's people that have 5 of these and prefer to just have a few standard ones, and there's people that will have 1,000 of these because they're using them for every single different use case and tracking individual metrics and pushing out to multiple groups. So if I just created one that said Facebook as well, then the next thing that you can do is the link attribution. So what I mean by this is inside of the widget, then we have it here. You can pass a custom variable along with the call adding to the end of the URL. So where we have this EG, then this section here, if you take this link and then you paste that onto the end of it and then you name it with the title that you're looking for, then that will then show inside of the call screen and also then show inside of the insights. So you'll be able to accurately track any campaign clicks that come through or any team routed clicks that you've set. And what we're trying to do is make that a little bit simpler. So very soon we're hoping that we can have inside of the create a group, then we'll just have a name underneath for campaign name, which is then that associated tag that will be used throughout the account. But what that allows you to do is it gives you some really detailed user information with very little setup necessary. All you're effectively having to do is embed the button onto your website. When a user clicks it, they're on the call is recorded, the call is tracked, and you have the full overview at the end. So it works as a very powerful tool for many different use cases. Now, inside of the My Account, things are quite standard. You have the AppSumo redeem stack, which explains a lot of the information here. Now, one of the things that I think did cause a little bit of confusion is that we have 2 account types. So we have one that's for standard users and one that's particularly for agencies. And the reason for this is because when we first started marketing Clickacall out, then we actually found that we got a huge interest from not just businesses that wanted to use our solution, but for agency owners who thought that this would be a really nice upsell to their clients. It gives you a real point of difference, a good comms tool, and it's a good revenue generator for the agency as well. So where we went with this is that we would create a permission level for an agency. And I'll show you the difference now because I have the 2 account types. So these are just codes that I've generated and they'll be deactivated after the webinar for anybody that gets an idea. And if I just paste this in, then you'll see I now am given the choice between a standard account and an agency account. Now, if I click on a standard account, then you'll see currently I have 3 out of a total of 6 agents. If I click on standard, then that will move that up by 3. So I have 9 available users inside of my original account. But if I go to a agency account, then an agency account starts with a standard of 5 and gets white labeled for their agency. But then they also get 3 standard sub accounts. Now, these 3 standard sub accounts are effectively accounts that you can use for clients. So if you as an agency thought, you know what, we'd probably use it ourselves, but also we're pretty interested in selling it to our client base, then by having 3 standard accounts, you can actually bill monthly to each one of those users, while also keeping, all of the revenue because it's on a lifetime deal. Now, any upgrades that happen inside of that account, if I go ahead and redeem a standard, just so you can see what this looks like now, that now brings us to a total of 9 users. So if we go here, then you see your total is above. Now, if I jump to this tab here, then you'll see this is one that I set up slightly earlier, which has the clients involved in it. And you'll see that the standard users for this account now are set to 6, which is the main user, and then the 5 sub-users. And then underneath, when we come back into the account settings and then we go to manage clients, you now have this additional tab that isn't shown on a standard account. This allows you to invite a client by their email address, and then you can actually see and control their user limit. So you can set how many users that account has access to and whether they have branding toggled on or off. So what happens with this is that obviously one AppSumo code gives you one of these new client accounts, and that client account then has branding switched, has branding and also any kind of payment mechanism switched off, so that you can actually bill them individually whatever you like and in whatever way you want to. Because that was the feedback that we received from agencies, that they would prefer that the clients didn't have a billing access and that it could be controlled centrally from them. So we'd love to hear your feedback if you start using this, in terms of what your experience was like and if there's anything we can do to further improve it for our agency partners. Now, the next piece that we would really look towards is the My Branding section. The My Branding section is quite comprehensive in what you're able to do there. So you'll see that this initially allows you to customize everything in terms of the website copy, in terms of the titles and the descriptions. You also have full ability to customize the colors if you want to change things, and everything will edit in real time so you can see what it looks like. And then as you're going through, you can change the logos for the powered by, even down to the favicons. And then we have the domain connection access. So the domains had a few issues over the last few days, but that's all now fully fixed, and we've got people up and running live with it now. So if you type in any kind of domain in here, then that just gives you a pre-Clickacall domain. So you could have, business1.clickacall.live and business1.call.ec and use those as your main call links. However, we also have the ability for you to use your own domain. So if your name was, if you were a flower shop, if your name was flowershop.com, then you could literally have call.flowershop.com when people are using the product. So you get this fully branded experience that's all interactive to your website and your particular information. And we'd love to hear if there's any further customizations that you would like, but we've tried to make it as comprehensive as possible. The thing that I would like to point out at this stage is that the mobile applications that we have, which are for iOS and for Android, they work on push notification. So they allow you to receive calls directly from your mobile phone the same way that a normal call would ring through. And that's their core purpose, just so that you didn't have to sit inside of the dashboard or have it open on a tab to receive those lead calls. But one thing that we can't do is offer a bespoke version of the app inside of your brand. So when you open the app up, then what we're working towards is that you have a fully branded version inside of the app, but the actual app itself needs to stay as Clickacall, simply due to Apple and Google's restrictions over what we can do with white labeling apps. We can launch independent apps, but they're so expensive and time consuming to do that unless you were talking about a serious scale of clients, it just wouldn't really be feasible for us to do that. So that should give you a sort of starting overview to the account. and really give you some insight into the white label, the agency features, the mobile app, the recordings, the busy messages. So the next thing that I'd really like to touch on is that we are actually very early stage in terms of where we want to take the product. There's still so much more that we're very excited to do, but we think the product now is perfect for the user base. It seems to work. We have a lot of very happy users. And what I'd really like to jump to is our roadmap. So inside of our roadmap, then some of the things that we know we've heard from the community is that the biggest, we need multilingual. We have users from all over the world, and our biggest request is that we need a multilingual version. So that is the thing that we're working on at the moment. I can't tell you exactly when that's going to come out because there's obviously a lot of complexity to it, but we're making sure that that is a priority at the top of our list. The next thing really that we want to look at is how do we add things like a voicemail option onto the missed call form, because that was a big request as well. We want to improve the overall call experience. So we're talking about offering full screen video and things like that, just to make it a little bit nicer in the interactions. And then we're going to look at adding things like sort of intro phasing and outros, just to make the calls come across as a lot smoother. We're pretty happy with the call stability, and that is constantly getting better over time. And also we're going to give a lot more customizations to all of the little bits inside of the platform. So things like the silhouettes for the audio calls, we want to add things for refreshing links and erasing tags and just doing all of the typical stuff that you may need on a day-to-day basis. We have registered everything, every piece of feedback that people have given us, and we're working hard to try and make sure that we really nail it. Now, the other things that crop up quite commonly, which I'm sure will be in the comments, is regarding compliance. So when we're talking about compliance, then Clickacall is GDPR compliant, but it does require the business themselves to also have, obviously, the call product as part of their compliance procedure. So what we're trying to do is make it a little bit simpler, and we will have opt-in buttons and things like that that will allow you to be compliant with a lot more ease than where it currently is. And also we are looking into the HIPAA compliance to try and make sure that we can make sure we've got that as a full compliance piece. And then the other question that seems to crop up quite a lot is around end-to-end encryption for our call users. Now, end-to-end encryption is a little bit of a buzzword in the industry at the moment because of what's happened with Zoom. And we do eventually want to get to a fully end-to-end encrypted platform, but it doesn't mean that our current system is unsecure by any means. Zoom, up until earlier this year, wasn't end-to-end encrypted. And obviously they haven't had drastic hacks or huge major issues over the millions and millions of users. What we use is a thing that's point-to-point encryption, which means that from you as a caller through to our servers, then that is fully protected. And then from our server to the other caller, that is fully protected. So the only thing is our servers, which are well protected, and we use a serious hosting provider who has servers all over the world and deals with millions and millions of calls. So we can be very confident on the security features inside of the platform for all of your needs. But just to make sure that we fully address that issue. Now, the big thing that we want to bring forward as well is, if I show you on the Clickacall website at the moment, we just have a Let's Chat button, and we do have the test call buttons. We have had to leave them as a busy status because we've received thousands of calls to those buttons over the last few days, so it was simply infeasible for us to answer every single one of them. But what we'd like to do when we develop the product out is, instead of having this call screen here that is a pop-up extension, we'd actually like to build it inside of the website itself. So when you click on this Let's Chat button, then it will pop up into almost a live chat window, but that will then have the option to make a live video call. So you could actually interact with your users while they're on your website in real time. And as they click through tabs on the website itself, then the video will stay constant, and then we'll keep reloading onto each page. So you'll be able to do a walkthrough while they're actually inside of the website. We think that this is a really neat feature, and it really lends itself into what Clickacall is meant to be in terms of a simplicity product. And then one of the other big things that we know people have requested and that we're looking into is a booking mechanism as well. So when you go down to click to make a call, then at the moment it is a live call straight away. We would like to offer the option so that you could have a scheduling feature, and you could click on that scheduling feature, which opens a calendar, which syncs into the dashboard and then links into any of your existing calendar tools. We don't want to be another calendar. We just want to allow the calendar bookings to go into your existing calendars, which is the purpose of the work we're doing with our APIs and further features around that. Now, with the calendar function, we even have the ability to go one step further and to look at taking payment information over those calls as well. So somebody could come onto your website if you do online video consultations, which is very much the way the world is going at the moment. People would be able to click on the pop-up widget and click on to schedule an appointment with you, make a payment for that appointment, click submit, and then that'll just instantly sync into your calendar, and you'll both get call reminders just before the call starts, as well as a notification, obviously, at the moment of booking. So we want the platform to really, really grow a lot further than where we are today in terms of functionality that it offers businesses, and a lot more collaboration effect so that you could eventually add, say, team members into the call. We would have it so that you have your normal call screen with an addition button, and you'd be able to see your available agents, and then just add other people from your team into that call as well, or use it for a group calling function if necessary. Now, a lot of these things are roadmap features. We can't tell you exactly when they're going to come. All we can tell you is that we're working very hard on trying to further this product as quickly as we can while trying to maintain the quality. And the next releases that we make will be much more refined and well tested, so there won't be as many bugs or issues, because we understand that this is a communication platform that's going to be the main tool for your business, really, to interact with customers. So we need to make sure that sort of experience is seamless and that it is ultimately infallible so that it doesn't break, because your leads are very important. So we really want to make sure that we get the right level of refinement, that we get the product exactly we want to get it to a certain stage where you can rely on us completely. And from there, we want to start adding in new features, and some of the ideas we haven't even touched on inside of this webinar, but we want to be something that's very different to anything else that's in the marketplace. And I hope that that's the message that's being communicated across. I think I've waffled on for quite a while now, so I will hand it back to Lindsay and take some questions.
Yeah, we've got some questions here. Thank you, Sumo Links, for sending these in. And if you would, if you submitted a question in the chat room and you have not put it in the Q&A box, make sure you do that. I think I've communicated that to everybody, so hopefully they've done that now. All right. Hello. All right. When will the iOS app work?
So the iOS app did work when we launched, and then we had some user feedback about our account billing system. So when an AppSumo user redeemed the code, it said, you are now in a free trial until 2030, just because of the way our system worked. Mm-hmm. When we actually made that transitional change to say, okay, now you've got a lifetime AppSumo account based on feedback, then it broke something within the app. So we had to go back and fix it. So we've made that fix, but we have to push it through with a version 2 of the app. So we're making a few other amendments so we can push it through in a batch. We're hoping that we can get an amendment out over the next week. And we are really sorry about the delay. It was just completely unforeseen from our side.
Yeah, that's great. We've gotten a couple questions, some people wanting to look at that. So it seems like they're excited for that to come. Is there call scheduling?
Yes, so that's something that we haven't even really talked about. Now, right now, we don't have a direct tool for you to set the availability hours of the agents, but it's something that we've scoped out quite a while ago and started working on. Again, I don't know at what point we're going to get it out, hopefully over the next few weeks. So before the end of the AppSumo deal, I think we can confidently say we should have something live. Now, inside of that, what you would have is on each agent, the ability to set available times, and you could do the same thing for all of your group links. Now, inside of those available times, you would then be able to say, okay, from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m., then I'm available. After that, please send it to the missed call form, or you could even redirect it through to another group link or another user link. So you could say, okay, this is the out of hours service, so I'd like to route the call over there. We want to make it that simple so that you can quickly pick the functions that are right for you, but also we're working on allowing you to fully customize all of the fields inside of the dashboard. So things like the missed call form in itself, then you have at the moment just a name, email address, and message. We want to allow you to build the fields that actually are relevant. You could make that into a booking system. You could do anything you want with it. That's ultimately what we're trying to achieve. And then you'd be able to set certain ones to appear under different circumstances. So for example, if you have a message that's for when you go for lunch for half an hour at 1 o'clock, then you could set that automatically. So it says, hey, I'm on lunch. If you want to set up a meeting, call me back after 1 p.m. and I'll be available again, or something along those lines. If you go on holiday for a couple of weeks, then you could set it to say, hey, I'm off on the sun, having a great time. I'll come back to you as soon. I'll leave you with my colleague here. And then you could just route the number through to them afterwards. So we want to give you as many available options to really do everything that you need it to do, because we know that Clickacall as a product is so versatile in its use case that we can't dictate how people are going to use it. All we can do is try and build it in such a flexible way that you can customize it to your individual need, which is the core point. Just following from that as well, inside of the call screen, the live call screen, then where we have the notes and the tags, we also want that function to be fully customizable as well, so that you can match it up to your CRM fields and then build webhooks and use an open API to actually just pull it straight into any kind of system that you use after that. We wanted to try and make it as integrated as possible. So we are looking at various amounts of integrations as well. Sorry, I'll jump back to questions.
No, you're great. All right, our next question is, will there be features that forward audio/video calls to different emails? I have agency, but would rather forward calls to my clients' emails.
Yes, well, so every single call works off a link-based technology. So at the moment, you'll have one user which has your email address and your call link associated to it. Now, if you're using the call groups, then that will automatically route the calls to multiple people as individuals. So you can make a call group with just your clients in them, but not yourself, and then obviously route those calls through. Alternatively, as we do begin to build up the routing functions, then you'll be able to say, okay, well, if somebody calls me, then I want it routed specifically to this individual. And you could build a series of links for different areas to go to different clients. If that made sense.
Yeah. Regarding the mobile app, since you just mentioned agents groups, I would like to know for the mobile app, if I can have agent answer group calls from their mobiles. Is this possible?
Yeah, so what happens is when somebody rings one of the group links, then it will ring all of the available devices. So anybody that has toggled their availability on and is included inside of that group. So as you can see here, then if we just go into the agents on this, then you'll be able to see 1, 2, 3 individuals. We'll be able to select these in and save. So now everybody inside of this agent group will get that phone call if you've got it toggled on, whether you're using the mobile app or the desktop.
Cool. All right. This one is a 3-parter from the same person. How many people can be on the same call?
So at the moment, it's a 1-to-1 video call product. It was designed for those 1-to-1 support or lead interactions. We have had a massive amount of requests for a multi-caller function, and we have played around with the technology and have had it working before. So it's not infeasible for us to add a multi-caller product down the line, and it is inside of our roadmap for the ability to add other team members in, or even to have small groups of individuals on the calls, similar to a kind of Zoom-based product, but it's certainly not our core market. So yes, we will make it into a functionality, and it is already on the roadmap, but no, it's not more than a one-to-one caller interaction at this current point.
Cool. Can sub-accounts have their own branding?
Yes, so sub-accounts can have their own branding. Now, the way that we currently work with our non-AppSumo customers, we have a bunch of agency partners. We prefer to work with our agency partners and just empower them to really sell Clickacall through to their existing clients. And each one of those agencies currently works with us on the basis that they will resell to their clients at the standard Clickacall rate or any rate that they would like, and we give them an immediate 30% reduction in purchase. So any purchases that you made for the dashboard for your clients would come with an initial 30% reduction in price that you can then rebill to your clients at the full price, which means that you always make a nice margin. The client accounts that you get as standard are the baseline accounts with 3 users, and they don't come with the white labeling function. But obviously, if you're charging a monthly fee for the service and have it on a lifetime account, then there's a really good potential margin there for you and your client. And then at the same time, any upgrades that you do work on that discount percentage. So you grow and we grow.
Awesome. Can you customize the colors/look of the email invite?
Yes. So at the moment, when you do the customization inside of the dashboard for the full white label, then it customizes the majority of the email itself. We are constantly adding more functionality to this. And the concept for us is that we want the entire thing to be fully white labeled eventually. So anything from, forgotten password pages to the actual outgoing email server to the links that are used, everything ultimately should be fully custom for your business if you subscribe to the white label options. We've done as much as we could in the time that we had, and we know that there's a few extra bits that we want to get done. But as we move forward with the product over the next few months, yes, you will have complete white label.
Amazing. You mentioned billing to agencies. Is there a billing calculator which manages the call use?
So calls are unlimited. Users can make as many calls as they like. The only thing that we cap is the number of users inside of the account. So when we say we cap the number of users, you can have 3 team members in here, say, and you could make 1,000 user group links if you wanted to and embed them all over the place. But where those calls can be routed is only to those 3 agent users. So if you wanted to add more users, then obviously that works with the commission rates that you get with the instant discounts. And otherwise, there's no expensive cost. There's no per minute cost or any kind of hidden things that you haven't seen yet. It's quite straightforward.
Cool. Is there any outbound call option?
So no, there isn't any outbound call option. You can use the invites by email, and we are looking into the options of potential text message invites. And we think that as the tool matures and we have more things like the calendar function where you can make bookings and that type of lead service, then the product will really come into a piece of its own with those interactions. But outbound is very hard with this technology. Now, people are moving away from the phone number. If you look at Google, if you look at Facebook, so Facebook Messenger is built on the same technology that we are. Google Hangouts is built on the same technology that we are. People are moving towards having email addresses at the moment, but soon it will just be unique links or usernames effectively that people will use to call rather than having a standard phone number. The problem is at the moment, because there's no universal tech for us to call an individual back without installing something, it creates a challenge for us. Because if you share your link to an individual, how do you make an outbound call without having any information, without having any kind of handle that you can call them to? So unless we released an app or we released some kind of web portal that allowed a customer to sign up and then you could make an outbound call, maybe we could do something like that for follow-ups. But I don't think that this product is right if you're going to be making drastic numbers of outbound calls. The one thing that I could say that we are looking into, but can't give you any kind of definite answer on, is whether we can integrate with current Voip systems. So any business that's of slightly larger size that's using a Voip phone system throughout, maybe we would be able to integrate and work with them, but we don't think that we would ever go down the route of dialer technology. So for a call center or anybody with mass amounts of outbound calls, this product just wouldn't really be a good fit.
Great, good to know, thank you. Can I embed the button to start a call in an email?
Yes, absolutely. So that's a lot of our users have done exactly that. We have some fantastic users that have put a headshot of themselves and then they've put a little message over the top saying, click the picture of me and then you'll start a call, things like that. We've seen some really creative uses. Actually, one of the user feedback from the community was the same way that we have the button generator. We're actually looking at whether we can do an email signature generator inside of the platform as well, so that you'll actually be able to fully make your email signature within seconds and then launch that onto your emails with your Clickacall links. And that's just a nice to have optional feature. You can always just take the links and embed them into your existing email signatures as well.
Awesome. I have noticed that some people are submitting questions still to the chat, which is great. I'm excited that you have questions, but I'm not going to see them. So please put those questions in the Q&A box so I can keep track of them, please. All right. Can you have somebody, instead of leaving a message when they're away, can they redirect that call to a different number, say a cell phone?
So you could redirect that call to another user inside of Clickacall. You wouldn't be able to redirect it to a phone number. It doesn't really work in terms of pushing from Clickacall up to a phone number in itself, because Clickacall uses links instead of numbers. So it's kind of contradictory. But if somebody obviously called you and you wanted to redirect that, and that's hopefully what we're putting into the platform anyway, so that you'd be able to select any other user or group of users that you would like to then forward that call through to.
Cool. Can it play a recorded call? So if somebody calls, can it play a recorded call and they can like press 1 to talk with a live agent?
So we have, so we've had one of the biggest requests as well that's come through the AppSumo community was to add a voicemail option to the call lead form. Now, we initially looked at a voicemail functionality, but we found that people were forgetting to leave their contact details on the actual voicemail. So we found it to be quite frustrating, which is why we moved to the lead form in the first place. So we're looking to add that voicemail functionality into the call. And then inside of that, you'd be able to add maybe some pre-recorded voice messages or video messages that would be the pre-screener to their message. So yes, we would have that as a functionality. We don't have it just right now, but we are definitely looking to add it.
Awesome. Right. Does the system allow internal call transfer between teams?
Yeah, again, another great question. So at the moment, once you're connected onto the call, then it doesn't allow you to transfer it through to another person, but that is inside of our version 3. So if you read through our roadmap features, and that'll give you some clarity around what we're hoping to do. And we have done quite a lot of work around how we can make it easier for that type of transfer process. We know that that will be one of the major pain points. So we are trying to get that fixed as early as possible.
Cool. All right. Will there be an API?
Yes, so we are trying to make sure that we have an open API that you can pull the information out as and when you need it to whichever product or service that you use outside of Clickacall. Now, we want to make that a little bit easier by allowing you to make the form fields custom. So you can align the form fields that go into the missed call forms, but also into the live caller information. And then you could actually just pull that information directly in the format that you want it to be in to your CRM. So it's a lot less work than having to make things fit.
All right. This person has a lot of questions that all seem really great, but also kind of seem like, okay, this is what it is. There are 5 questions here, but they all kind of boil down to the same question. They're wondering about their white labeling. It appears that the emails are still going out from clickacall.live. Is this something that can be changed? And if so, how?
So the emails that go out will show your branding options now. It'll have your your customized actual email format. The one thing that won't be branded at the moment is the actual outgoing email server. Now we are doing a piece of work to see whether we can add that so that it comes out of your domain server. But that is quite a substantial piece of work, so it will probably take us at least a couple of months to make some progress into that. So yes, we are going to do it. It's part of our overall push for the full true white label of anything and everything throughout the platform. But at the moment, it will use our email server until we've built that.
Awesome. Can multiple agents join the same call? I believe you said they're 1-to-1, right?
Yeah, at the moment they're 1-to-1. In the future, you will have the ability, there'll be a little plus button inside of the call screen, and you would just be able to then select an available agent and they would instantly join the call.
Amazing. All right. I somehow, somehow, no matter how many questions I ask you, the same amount of questions are still here in the Q&A box. So I'm trying to get through these. I apologize, everybody. Okay, so a question that's come, I'm trying to find ones that have been repeated. A question that people are curious about, they want to know when version 2 is going to be released. They're also just interested in general for the roadmap. So what can you tell us about the timeline of things coming up?
Yep, so if you check on the AppSumo post, I did an update last night with a few extra links, but I have it open here as well. Now, if you go to our help center, then you'll see this document for the public roadmap features. This kind of gives you an outline as to everything that we are doing and where we've come from. So you can see that version 1 was completed back in November, which gave us the basic concept of the product. We've added so much over the last few months, a lot of the features, the white labeling, the agency features, the call recordings, the routing features, everything's new over the last few months. In terms of the existing developments that we have that we want to do to give further functionality to what we've already built is here. And then the features that we're going to be adding in for version 2 before moving into version 3, you can see here. So that has everything that we've discussed with the multilingual, the custom form fields, the APIs and webhooks, out of hours calls, the routing. We've also wanted to add a call feedback section in here as well. So at the moment, when you finish a call, then it comes up and just says, okay, please close this window, the call is finished. We want this to showcase up with, on a scale of 1 to 10, how to define the call or any kind of customizable NPS metrics that you might want to measure. And then that will feed back as agent feedback into the dashboard. So you'll be able to see each user how successful or what kind of feedback you were getting from each interaction, because we think that would be quite useful. So you can see here that we are looking at adding sort of like a version 2 of the mobile app with a lot more details to it. But then we start version 3. Now version 3 is where we go into a lot more detail in terms of things like adding the multi-caller with the presentation mode, adding in booking and payment features. We want to add custom QR codes as well. We built it and it looks really cool, and it's a Clickacall branded QR code that you'd be able to customize yourself, and you can embed that across your marketing and print-based material for your clients, which actually then gives you a 100% trackable and also reprogrammable marketing function. So people could just scan their phone over the QR code, click it, and they're instantly then onto a call. And all of that then is fully recorded. And if you wanted to change the destination of that print marketing material at a later date, you could. So there's certain things like that that we really want to go over and above to build things that nobody else has done. And you'll be able to read more about this. And there are things that we're kind of keeping hidden as well, because we want to surprise with these big wows. But this will give you a really good insight into who we are as a business and where we're going with the product.
Cool. Thank you. All right. What is the max resolution of video calls?
So at the moment, we put all calls as a 720p standard. This allows us to have a good level of call consistency. It's the industry average for call products as well. We do have the options to upgrade to 1080p and even 4K, but we want to make more stability improvements to the engine really before we offer that out. And then we're hoping to give people a toggle option just inside of their call screen so that they could select the resolution, or we could scale it based on the internet connections. Because as you move up in call resolution, then you will experience more call issues. Our product runs incredibly smoothly on a 720p, and we can be confident that each interaction with your clients is going to be successful. Now, if we upgrade too far, if you were trying to stream in 1080p 4K, then you may experience a lot more sort of flickering inside of the screen and things like that, as you would with any call product.
Awesome. I've scrolled down to the newest questions. Can we track from which country the call is coming from?
Yes, so that information is pulled into the dashboard. So on the insights, then you'll be able to see the IP address, the location information. Isn't shown in here, but I can get that added. We have access to that. So yes, we can show the country of origin, possibly even the local area to that individual. I'll make a note of that and we'll add it to the roadmap.
There are also, I believe I saw this, but correct me if I'm wrong, you can leave notes on a call too, correct?
Yeah, so if we go into
that was another question somebody asked, but yeah.
Yeah, if we go into the call log here, then you can see the notes section. You can go back and make extra notes or add extra tags at the end of the calls if you need to. Also, here's the recording that we just did then. So you have access to obviously download this if you need it. What we plan to do with the recordings is make them sort of more cut up. So you could download the audio only or one person's video screen only, and then you can utilize it for whatever solution you need. The other thing we wanted to do was make it so that you could set it to auto save to any storage product that you currently have. I know that Google Drive has a great product, as well as Dropbox for storage. So we'd want to allow you to just link in and just pull whatever particular pieces of recordings you needed straight out of the dashboard.
Awesome. All right. Will it alert the others in the group calls or in the agency groups that the call has been responded to once anyone in the group has responded?
So once the call starts ringing, the first person to pick it up will kill the link for everybody else to use. So only one person will be able to answer any call at any time. And once somebody's picked up the call, then no other user will be able to answer that. So it's kind of an auto-telling feature if you can't answer the call and somebody else has. But we can make it clearer to say that somebody's picked it up, but we just wouldn't want to bombard people with notifications to say this person's picked up a call and this person's picked up a call. So we want to do it in a bit more of a subtle way, I think.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. If you don't have the app, does the Clickacall dashboard have to be open in order to receive a call?
So yes, the Clickacall dashboard has to be open and on the Accept Calls tab. One of the things that's come in when we add the sort of in website widget would be, we're looking at the idea of how we can make sure that it goes all the way across the dashboard, so it doesn't matter which page you're on. But at the moment, you have to be on Accept Calls. Now, one thing that we have done to make this easier is you can actually have multiple tabs open. So if I just take this and then open up another dashboard page, then I can have this on my agent settings and user settings where it's saying suspended. But if somebody calls me and I have this as my open available tab, then it will still ring through to this dashboard page. So if you just pin it and leave it on there, then that's generally how I use the product. So I can do anything I want inside the dashboard, but I can still receive the calls because I've got that tab.
Awesome. Is reporting available for types of calls / campaigns and show what percentage of the calls were successful or not?
Yep, so inside of the Insights tab, then you can see by the tags. Now, each tag would a tag would be associated to a campaign name as well. So if you had, say, Facebook, you'd see the number of calls that come in from Facebook, the total number of minutes for those calls, and then the status of completed, in progress, or missed. You have the ability, obviously, inside of each call to also make the notes and add any kind of other information, but we want to further build that out eventually to allow you to make more detailed reporting. And what we know is that on this page, when you first load up the dashboard, this is almost dead space until somebody makes a call. So this will be transitioned into kind of an insights overview. We don't want to become an insight platform. We don't want to add complexity. We want this to be a product that people can sign up for and just use without any real need to spend an hour reading the document. So this will be an open the page and you have access to all of the basic overview information, but then the ability to pull any data sources that you want to any of your sort of more powerful analytical tools.
Great. Does Clickacall work through a VPN?
I haven't actually tried using Clickacall through a VPN. At a guess, I would say yes, it should work through a VPN. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't. Also, with the number of users that we've got and the fact we've been, having the thousands of calls, then I have never experienced that as a user issue either. So I would guess yes, it works fine through a VPN, but I'll have to confirm.
Yeah, I guess a similar question to that was whether you could use this on any browser.
Yep, any browser, any device. There's no real requirement. It's simply click the link and it should just open. Basically, the way WebRTC works is it's just going into any browser that it can and finding a camera and microphone permission settings, allowing those settings, and then jumping you onto the call. The only browser, and this is the only thing that we have to point out, is that Facebook Messenger app in its own. So if you sent a call link on Facebook, then that's absolutely fine because that would open up inside of the normal browser. If you send a link through Facebook Messenger, then Facebook Messenger has an app, which then has a browser inside of the app. So it doesn't allow microphone or camera permissions. If you try and send a Zoom link through Facebook Messenger, it doesn't work either. It pops up and says, please copy and paste this link into your standard browser, because without a browser, then WebRTC can't work. So Facebook Messenger, I would say, is the only limitation of the platform, but it's a limitation of every video product. There's no video product that works on Facebook Messenger other than Facebook Messenger. So just wanted to highlight that one.
You predicted a question that literally just came in a minute ago that said, is it possible to add a link into a Facebook ad?
So yes, Facebook ads, this works really great. And I don't want people to think it doesn't work through Facebook because it works fantastic. If you're embedding these links through to your Facebook campaigns, then it's a super powerful tool because they don't even have to have a localized phone number or anything like that. You can attach it to the button. So they click the button and they're calling you straight away. If you reduce the friction, if you reduce the steps in the process for your ads, then it'll have massive benefits and returns. So I think that as a product, it probably offers something that's much superior to the standard phone number or anything else that's available right now. But you just wouldn't want to do any Facebook Messenger specific ads, which I think account for a very small percentage of Facebook advertising, and you can toggle them off inside of your ad space for any links that you're using Clickacall in.
Awesome. We've gotten this question a few times and I feel like it's been answered, but maybe I'm wrong and that's why they keep asking. How do you make audio only calls, or how do you receive audio only calls?
So we added the audio only link into the widgets. That was one of the first things that we did. Now, when we first started it out, then we were looking as a video-based product. We wanted to go almost fully video. So when people clicked on the audio call link, then what happened was the agent screen would appear as a video, but the user, the customer, once they've clicked on that link, they would have an audio only option. And we thought that that would be the majority use case, but we actually found a lot of feedback surrounding people wanting audio only calls, so just audio to audio. And we are making that change as we speak. We're hoping it should be done sort of in the next week or two. It's coming along with an update and improvement to our comms server. So we will have full audio to audio calls. And we also had a comment about the silhouettes not looking great, and we agree. So we're looking at allowing you to add your logos and branding and things like that into those silhouettes for the audio calls when people are making the interactions.
Awesome, thank you. Can there be call transcripts?
So call transcripts at the moment, we don't have that as a functionality, but it is inside of the roadmap. We plan to hopefully one day have dictation and transcription built in so that it would do some really cool, amazing stuff. But we know that we're quite a way away from that, so we don't want to promise things too far in advance. It's definitely a direction that we're working in though.
Absolutely. So there are a few more questions in here. I'm going to keep going through personally, but I'm wondering, where can a user, do you have any, besides just regular support, do you have any other ways that they can get some help getting set up, whether those are tutorials or videos or anything like that? Is there anywhere else they can go?
Yes, so we have had a few requests. Obviously, we've been overwhelmed with the support queries that have come through, and we've been trying to deal with them as quickly as possible. The help center, so anybody that's come through help.clickacall.live, all of those support queries are now dealt with, as well as all personal mail to me. But I know that there was a huge backlog from the website because we didn't expect hundreds of submissions through the website contact form, which was the biggest sort of hurdle to us, because that's kind of thrown everything else out of line. So yeah, so I've been absolutely hammering through the support queries as much as I can. Everything should be up to date. I'm working throughout the weekend to get this done. And then from there, I've added a few extra support articles onto the Help Center, and I'll be following it up with a bunch of tutorial videos from the most common questions that I've been asked and blogs. So we will add a lot more detailed support resource, and I'll also be releasing a booking link so you can schedule sort of like a demo with me, and I can walk you through anything in the platform that you may need to know. We hope that we've built something that's simple enough that you kind of get to grips and you can use it, but we are definitely there as a support mechanism, and we are sorry, over the last few days we've just been simply overwhelmed, and I can't tell you any different.
That happens when people go live on AppSumo. You get some business and some people really want to get to know your product, so that's honestly pretty exciting. It does look like those are most of the questions that we have here. I believe there might be some questions still in the chat that we haven't gotten to, but the Q&A box is, I'm going to give everybody a couple more minutes in case there's anything that really hasn't been answered, but it seems like a lot of these questions are about roadmap or timelines and things of that nature, and things that we've already just in general have already covered. So yeah, I see one more question came in. Link to buy. That's the kind of question that I want. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and come back on camera here. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Jordan, for walking us through everything, for taking the time to answer all of those questions. I'm going to go ahead and take that question that just came in. If you would like to buy Clickacall, you can do that right now. appsumo.com/Clickacall. It's starting right now for just $69 for a lifetime deal. You can go ahead, get signed up and started with the program. Let us know how it's working for you in the comments. And of course, if you have any more questions, you can leave those questions on the deal page. Thank you so much, Jordan, for hanging out with us today.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me. And yeah, I look forward to seeing all your users onto the platform. If there's anything that you need, then just drop me an email directly, which is jordan@clickacall.live, and I'll be happy to help you out however I can.
Amazing. Thank you all, everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you. See you later.